boxing. Man in boxing, led the Flair Cops. Shout out to Goodfellas Sports TV. Woo!
Don't forget to check out our sponsor, The Health Blaze, at thehealthblaze.com. 100% all natural products from lotions, soaps, foot soaks, bath bombs, and much, much more. Use the promo code Goodfella1Boxing. Tell them your boy CJ Goodfella sent you. Get 18% off. We out. All right, Oscar De La Hoya revealed to Yahoo Sports, and I put the article in the description, that leading up to his first fight with Chavez in '96, he received a threat from the Mexican cartels, and he also received a request from then Mexican president, I forget his name, Ernesto Zendelo. Hopefully I said his name right. I know I butchered it. Apologize. But let's talk about it. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. And yeah, Oscar fought Chavez twice. First time he stopped him in 4. Like they said in the article, it was rumored that Chavez sustained a cut in camp, and Oscar basically busted it back open. They fought 2 years later in '98. De La Hoya was more competitive. De La Hoya, did his thing by then, but both times Chavez was pretty much at the end of his career. He had a lot of fights even before he became a mainstream fighter in America. He is seen as the greatest fighter in Mexican history by a lot of people. I mean, you got great fighters like Salvador Sanchez, Finito Lopez, Morales, Barrera. You keep going on. It's a proud country. And even they mid-tier fighters like Orlando Salido is tough as fucking bricks. But Chavez is seen as, a lot of fighters, he's the godfather. However you look at him, you don't think he was physically or the best in the ring, whatever you believe. But a lot of fighters look up to him, all right? And De La Hoya wasn't seen as a true Mexican. He's American and Mexican. He come from East LA. And they kind of frown upon, I guess American Mexicans, from what I understand. And this is one of the reasons why Canelo refuses to speak English. Canelo refuses to speak English because he don't want to seem like a sellout. He can speak it and he can understand it, but he just ain't speaking it because he don't want to seem like a sellout. And let me tell you the difference between Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez a little bit as we carry on. But leading up to the first fight, he faced a lot of scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? He said the cartels gave him a visit in Big Bear, basically to say, you better lose this fight or don't go through with the fight. And I'm pretty sure that gotta be scary. Now I'm not sure if it was on some motherfucking Suge Knight bringing baseball bats and beat motherfuckers' ass, or was it more of a timid threat? Obviously it was a threat that wasn't carried out. Because Oscar De La Hoya still living here and breathing here, and he still continued his career on until 2009 and 10. So who knows how serious that threat was to Oscar De La Hoya, or maybe he paid the bag, afterwards to keep them off his ass. But that just lets you know it's a gap. It is a gap between Mexican Americans and Mexicans. It's a huge gap. And a lot of them don't look at them as real Mexicans, and that's sad because, to be honest, if you was born in like parts of California, New Mexico, and obviously all of Texas, that used to be Mexico. You know what I'm saying? That's the God honest truth. That used to be Mexico. So you can tell it's a difference in boxing, the way they push Mexican Americans and the way they push Mexicans. It's a difference. It really ain't been a Mexican American star that can capture the juice that Oscar had, though. Oscar was a star. But then again, Oscar also represented the United States in the Olympics. But then again, people ask, why don't really Mexico represent in the Olympics like that, or more of their fighters don't go to the Olympics? It's because the program is not good. They should put some money or some finances into the program, and I think they'll do just fine. But most of the time, they pro ready. In the amateur style, it ain't really good for pro ready fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like Canelo, Crawford was another guy that didn't do well in the amateurs. It's an acquired style. A lot of guys that fight in amateurs like Zeus Simmons get to the pros and can't do nothing. So it's a big gap between amateur and professional style. And this is, very few guys, to this day or in this era that can do both. that could be proficient. You got to learn to be a pro fighter from the amateurs. It's totally different. But he also said that Ernesto Zundillo, then, so hopefully I said his name right, then president of Mexico, told him, if you wear those American and Mexican trunks, because Oscar used to wear the American flag trunks on one side and the Mexican, flag trunks on the other side of his trunks. He told him, the president of Mexico, you wear that shit, you can't come back to Mexico. He told him, you wear that shit, and I don't think he wore it, you can't come back. And Oscar said he still got the letter. So how Oscar supposed to feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, really? So he's facing a lot of scrutiny. He lucky he didn't have to fight a young Chavez, because he would have some issues. You know what I'm saying? And Oscar perhaps could have been one of the most hated fighters of all time. Of course, you hear George Lopez tell this story about, when Oscar De La Hoya beat Chavez and how proud he was. I think he's a Mexican-American as well, too. He was very proud of Oscar De La Hoya. So they had a lot of Mexican-Americans that was proud of Oscar De La Hoya. But imagine not being able to go back to Mexico because you fought Chavez and you wore these trunks. He could have lost his life behind that. So, De La Hoya was a fighter's fighter. You know what I'm saying? He might rob you or he might get robbed, but De La Hoya fought the best. It wasn't no timing, no jucking and jiving or ducking it. De La Hoya fight your ass. And I will say that about Oscar. What he did after his career, some of the shit he did behind the scenes. And then he also, another problem with Oscar De La Hoya, he dealing with the other. He had a white girlfriend at first, then he got with the Puerto Rican girl and had a kid. So, how, the brothers look at, some of these black activists or these dudes screaming all this black shit and they married to a white woman, you know what I'm saying? Same way Mexicans feel about Oscar. He was fucking with he loved the white chicks. Then he had a Puerto Rican wife for a minute, so and they probably looked at Oscar De La Hoya as a Mexican raccoon, if you catch my drift. But the difference is this, man, between him and Canelo, right? Oscar was about to get banned from Mexico for wearing those trunks, right? Canelo apparently beat down like a flyweight, right? A flyweight, I guess, cheated or tried to hit on his wife. I forget the story. I think he piped down his girl at the time, not his wife. This is before the Austin Trout fight. So Canelo had some shit on his brain too. And it was supposed to be a warrant for Canelo arrest, something like that in Mexico. Because this dude, this fighter, paperweight, flyweight, he beat up for, I guess, cheating with his girlfriend and hitting on his girlfriend, whatever the story was. Canelo go out there and beat Austin Trout. He goes back to Mexico, right? The president say, don't worry about it. The president say, don't worry about it. You exonerated. That don't mean nothing. So Canelo was a warrant out for Canelo arrest leading up to the Austin Trout fight. You know what I'm saying? And when Canelo, just show you how big a star Canelo did, man, the president just wiped that shit away. They said, don't worry about that shit. Oscar De La Hoya is about to get banned from fucking Mexico for wearing some trunks. Canelo was able to come back after the beating the hell out of a paperweight, for messing with his girl. So just let you really know the difference, that De La Hoya wasn't, accepted as well neither. And you got to imagine, what if Chavez was younger, and the fight was more competitive, would they have felt the same way? And what they was doing was pretty much transferring De La Hoya already star power. They was trying to take the Chavez fans and give them to De La Hoya, but a lot of them refused to do so. And also, he was a point in time where Oscar was going to fight Sugar Ray Leonard in 98, 99. But Terry Norris handled his motherfucking business and stopped that from happening, I believe. And, imagine how, Oscar's career would have been different. Had he beat Chavez twice and beat Sugar Ray Leonard, he probably perhaps would have went down as one of the most hated fighters in history. You beat Mexico's, first child, and then you beat the original Golden Boy. The Bob Arum was going to fucking serve Sugar Ray Leonard up. And it's funny how these dudes don't know how to get out the game. You see a Holyfield and Mike Tyson still want to fight. But everything, people think was peaches and cream for Oscar De La Hoya because he had a built-in fan base. But that really had to do with, the gold medal, you know what I'm saying? It had to do with, the chicks love Oscar De La Hoya. And, Bob Arum just knew what to do with him. He almost served him up to Chavez twice and Sugar Ray Leonard. you know, he would have been popular, but a lot of people would have hated seeing him beat two ring legends like that. Some people don't forget that, but eventually De La Hoya went on, you know, to carry, Mexican Americans and Mexicans, and you know, he finessed Canelo out of his contract, and now he got him. But really, to this day, you know, he's one of the most hated people behind the scenes. A lot of people that work at Golden Boy that I talk to don't like Oscar De La Hoya. They link out a lot of stuff about him, how Canelo leaving and probably jumping ship to Matchroom and stuff of that nature. So, you know, it may just be the person, Oscar De La Hoya, just might, you know, a lot of the stuff behind the scenes and the fishnets and the attitude, and also he done alienated the black people. You know, he done alienated, you know, a lot of black fighters with the Al Heyman comments. It's a whole story about the fighter out of Philadelphia, how they treated Eric Hunter. Nate Campbell got stories. You know, shit, Mexican fighters, Abner Mares got stories. How, you know, he was living in the car and De La Hoya was treating him bad. I mean, Leo Santa Cruz got a story how, you know, Oscar won his contract back from Al Heyman, and he tried to make Rigondeaux, and Oscar came and bought the contract. I mean, Al came back and saved him and bought the contract out. So a lot of people don't like Oscar De La Hoya, and I think it's just him, his personality. You know, maybe he got CTE, and maybe he's just a prick. Usually people that grew up on a pedestal real young, they get entitled and they just want to be a prick. But it's no denying, you know, he's one of the greatest, you know, fighters of all time. You know what I'm saying? If more promoters was willing to cross the street and make the best fights like Oscar De La Hoya, I think boxing would be in a better way. If more fighters fought the best, like Oscar De La Hoya fought the best, you know, and everybody didn't have that, you know, star power to bring that type of money, but Oscar had the money, and Oscar was a fighter's fighter. You gotta get Oscar credit. Oscar fight your ass anytime, any place, anywhere. So wish more fighters had that, but you know, I just think a lot of people don't like it with some of the bull job that come with them. But hey, don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you have business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video quest. Keep sharing the videos. Want to make a donation to the channel? Cash App, PayPal in the description. Best way to donate is share the video. Like I said before, Twitter is the fastest way to reach out to me if you want to chop it up. Let me know what you think about it. I'll put the article link in the description under article link one time for the one time. Let me know how you feel in the comment section. We gone.